Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in the video. This is Troy here. Well, I made a video just a while ago, saying that George Zimmerman was found not guilty. I also made a video, I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, after the prosecution rested their case, and I was lucky enough, or unlucky enough, to be able to watch most of the prosecution's case, and then I gave my opinion because there was not going to be any more. They have the burden of proof; they have to prove it. So, of course, I did watch the defense part of it, and after I watched the prosecution put on their case, I could see no evidence whatsoever that George Zimmerman committed a crime. Now, let me start off, and I said it in that video too as well. No matter what happened, it's a tragedy. A young man was killed, and you can't bring him back. And I do feel sorry for his family and the people that knew him. And it's not against the law for a young black man to go to the store and buy Skittles. It's not against the law to buy some type of a drink. It's not against the law to stand on the street. It's not against the law to wear a hoodie in the rain. And people bringing up all this stuff is just ridiculous. And not one time were they allowed, or did they say anything about racism. And this whole thing was blown up, first of all, by the media. The media, we didn't know any type of facts in this case except for rumors, and some things were leaked that were not true, and some of them were not true, and some were not true. And I said in my previous video that when I first heard about this happening, and then you hear the things that are released, and a lot of it wasn't true, me and my family had a discussion, and we thought, George Zimmerman, man, if that stuff's true, this guy needs to go to jail for the rest of his life, or even be put to death. But then if you watched the prosecution and you watched the trial, it totally changed my mind, because the facts were coming out, and the prosecution, like as we all know, has to prove that that George Zimmerman committed these crimes. Remember, innocent until proven guilty, but people automatically say, hey, he's guilty, and then to turn it into a whole racist thing is ridiculous. They were trying to say, because and this is a warning, I'm going to be using some off-color language, some adult language, so this is your warning, that he says, these assholes always get away. I think he said these motherfuckers are getting away, but not one time did he use the N-word. He never said anything about race. Not one time. Or they could have brought up something that was racist. So for anybody to suggest this is racist, you are the racist person for bringing that up. And it's the media's fault for one thing, also bringing that up, spinning this around. And one of the biggest ones is CNN, which a lot of people call the Communist News Network, the most biased pieces of shit news company ever, that bring people on there, and most of them were African American, and you could see the disappointment in their faces when this verdict was handed down. You could just see the disappointment in their faces, and they're supposed to be non-biased, and they're not. So CNN, you're pieces of shit. But that's my little rant for today. Then, they were not even going to charge George Zimmerman. What was it? A month and a half, 2 months, you have seasoned detectives saying that they're not going to charge him. And then, lo and behold, you have the President of the United States saying, if I had a son, Trayvon Martin would have looked Trayvon Martin would look just like me. Well, that's bringing being race into it without him knowing it or not knowing it, and he had no business saying that. And then when his person that they talked to, the press secretary, he was asked about this. Oh no, he's not going to remark about it. Well, he shouldn't have remarked about it to begin with. And shame on you, Barack Obama. You shouldn't have said anything in the first place. And for all these people like Reverend Jesse Jackson and others, sure, if it was something that really had to do with racist, and he used the N-word on that phone call, he could have used that if that's what was in his heart, and it wasn't. It wasn't. And it's not against the law either, on the other hand, for George Zimmerman to be driving to the store and see somebody who he thought was suspicious, and it's not against the law for him to follow anybody, and it's not stalking, so anybody can get that out of their freaking head. It wasn't stalking. And he was told, you shouldn't follow. And then, should he got out of the car? Who's to say? He said he was going to look for an address, and, you know, we can argue that back and forth. Was he or was he not? But then also, people say, well, if you never would have got out of the car, that wouldn't happen. But also, Trayvon Martin had every chance to actually turn around. He lost George Zimmerman. He could have ran home, got home, that was it. But he chose to also, you know, come up to George Zimmerman and punch him in the face. There are no wounds that showed on Trayvon Martin's hands of anywhere. I'm sorry, on George Zimmerman's hands. There was no that he punched at all, that he even hit Trayvon Martin. There is no marks. The only mark on Trayvon Martin was the gunshot to his chest and a little bit of scratches on his knuckles from him hitting George Zimmerman in the face, and then also, and that's the only difference. And that is what you call self-defense. Let me slam your head once. Once slamming your head into concrete is going to daze you. Twice is really going to get you. And then if you're punched in the nose the first time and your nose is that some set are broken, some are not, you can't breathe because the blood is rushing down your throat. Of course, you're thinking that you're going to pass out, and then you're going to do what comes naturally. He's going to go ahead and pull his gun and shoot somebody. And if you really, and then, you know, they said that he was surprised. He didn't think that he killed him. He did not think that he killed him until when they told him he killed him. He was surprised, and that's seasoned detectives saying that they believe that he didn't think that he killed him. And if he did have ill will and really wanted to kill him, he would have shot him more than one time. A lot of 9mm, depending on what he has. He shot him anywhere, but depending how whatever it carries, 10 to 17 rounds. He shot him one time only. If he was gonna really, if he was after him, he would have shot him more than once. And that was never brought up either. He would have shot him more than once. And I would have shot him more than once. If somebody was bashing my head against the concrete and punching me in the face, I would have did the same damn thing, but he would have got more than one bullet. And once again, for people to bring up that it's racist, it's not racist. It's the people in the media and other people spinning it around and trying to cause trouble with this. So that's all I want to say about it. I won't do another video about it unless something else goes on crazy. Also, I want to bring up about, well, you know, they show the picture of George Zimmerman with the blood on his face and it's running down his nose. And if Trayvon Martin covered his face, covered his mouth with his one hand, and then covered his nose, there would be blood on his hands. Well, they discussed part of that. If he punched him in the nose and then he fell to the ground, and his nose starts bleeding because all that blood was coming out of his nose, it wasn't actually coming out of his mouth, and then he bled into his mouth. That when he's punched and fell to the ground, because I've had that happen to me before. I was playing football, somebody elbowed me in the face by accident. We didn't have helmets on. I fall back. Then, you know, when you're dazed, you tear up, your eyes tear up because you're hitting the nose, and then your nose starts bleeding. It goes the back of your throat, and you almost feel like you're choking on it. But guess what? There's no blood coming out of your nose because it's draining in the back of your mouth. So when he put his hand over his mouth and his nose, there was no blood actually on the outside. Then, of course, once he sits up or stands up, then the blood starts flowing. Easy proved right there. So that's all I'm going to say about the video, about the trial. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, let's make it civil, dude, when you do make a comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.